I've always been a bit of a nervous sleeper. Living alone in Buffalo, New York, with its old buildings and creaking floorboards, you get used to a certain level of ambient noise, but still, the silence can be just as unsettling. That's why I have this nightlight. It's a simple thing, plugs right into the wall socket by my bedroom door. It casts this soft, warm, amber glow across the room, just enough to chase away the deep shadows and let me drift off to sleep feeling secure. It's been my little beacon of safety for years. One night a couple of weeks ago, something changed. I was lying in bed, on my side, facing the wall. The usual city sounds were humming outside, a distant siren, the rumble of a late-night bus. I was just on the edge of sleep, that wonderful floaty feeling where your thoughts start to blur. I remember my mind wandering, thinking about work the next day, what I needed to pick up from the grocery store. Mundane stuff. The amber glow of the nightlight was a comforting presence at my back, filling the space between me and the open doorway to the dark hallway. For some reason, I rolled over. Maybe a car horn blared a little too close, or a floorboard upstairs settled with a groan. Whatever it was, I turned to face the door. And as my head turned, the room plunged into absolute, pitch-black darkness. The nightlight had gone out. My first thought was, great, the bulb finally burned out. I sighed, annoyed that I'd have to navigate the apartment in the dark to find a new one. I stared into the blackness where the light should have been, my eyes trying to adjust. But then, as I was still looking at the socket, it flickered back on, just like that. The soft, amber light filled the room again, pushing the shadows back into the corners. Weird, I mumbled to myself. Must be a faulty connection in the wiring, I figured. Old building, old problems. I didn't think much more of it. I turned my head back towards the wall, ready to try and find that sweet spot of near sleep again. The instant my gaze left the light, the room went black. A jolt went through me. This wasn't a flicker, this was immediate. The light was on, and then, the second I looked away, it was off. My heart started to pick up its pace. Okay, don't be ridiculous, I told myself. It's a coincidence, a loose plug. I took a slow breath and, very deliberately, turned my head back towards the door. Click, the light was on again. The familiar warm glow was there, steady and unwavering. I stared at it, my brow furrowed. It looked completely normal. No flickering, no buzzing, just on. I held my gaze on it for a long, silent minute. Nothing happened, it stayed on. My logical brain was screaming at me. It's a loose connection, and moving your head on the pillow is just enough to shift the floorboards or the wall and break the contact. It made sense. It had to make sense. To test the theory, I decided to do it again, but slowly this time. I kept my eyes locked on the nightlight, that little orange circle in the dark. Then, inch by inch, I started to turn my head away. I watched it from the corner of my eye for as long as I could. The light stayed on. I could see its glow illuminating the edge of the doorframe. My head was almost fully turned towards the wall. See, I thought, a wave of relief washing over me. It was just a fluke. And then I turned my head, that final inch. Total darkness. The light was gone. My breath hitched in my throat. Okay, this wasn't a loose connection. I whipped my head back around. The light immediately came back on. The room was instantly bathed in its gentle, amber light. My heart was hammering against my ribs now. This wasn't mechanical. This felt responsive. It felt like a game. I tried it again. Look away. Darkness. Look back. Light. Look away. Darkness. Look back. Light. It was a sick, terrifying switch. Each time I looked away, the blackness felt deeper, more absolute. It was no longer just the absence of light. It felt like a presence, a heavy, suffocating blanket that was waiting just at the edge of my vision. I started to feel a real, primal fear creeping in. My cozy bedroom didn't feel safe anymore. It felt like a trap. The rules were simple. As long as I was watching, I was safe. The moment I looked away, I was vulnerable. But I couldn't stare at the nightlight forever. My eyes were already starting to burn from the strain, watering from not blinking. I tried to be clever. I'd turn my head but keep my eyes angled towards the light. It worked, for a moment, but the second the light left my direct field of vision, even my peripheral, the darkness snapped back into place. It was getting faster. The moment of transition was seamless. It knew exactly when I wasn't looking. My panic was escalating. I was frozen in my bed, my neck craned at an awkward angle, staring at this stupid little piece of plastic plugged into my wall. It had become my captor. The rest of the room, everything that was outside that little circle of light, felt wrong. The shadows seemed to writhe and shift just beyond the amber glow. Was that the pile of clothes on my chair, or was it hunched over, taller than before? Was that the curtain, or was it swaying when the window was closed? I had to do something. I couldn't just lie here all night. My phone was on the nightstand, next to the bed, on the side away from the nightlight. To get it, I'd have to look away. I'd have to plunge myself into that waiting darkness. My hands started to tremble. I took a deep, shaky breath. It's just darkness, I told myself. It can't hurt you. I made a plan. I would turn, grab the phone, and turn back as fast as I could. 1, 2, 3, go. I squeezed my eyes shut. Maybe if I couldn't see anything, it wouldn't count, and I spun over, my hand flailing for my phone. The room went dark, of course, but this time it felt different. It felt colder. The air grew heavy, thick. My fingers brushed against the cool glass of the phone screen. I snatched it as I was turning back, clutching the phone like a lifeline, my eyes still squeezed shut. I felt a shift in the air right next to my ear. A sudden, chilling drop in temperature, and then a sound, a dry, whispering sound, like dead leaves skittering across pavement. It was so close, I could feel the faint puff of air against my cheek. The voice was low, raspy, and ancient. It wasn't loud, but it filled my entire head. It whispered just one sentence. You only feel safe when you're watching. My eyes snapped open. I was facing the nightlight. It was on, casting its innocent, warm glow. The room looked exactly as it always had. The pile of clothes was just a pile of clothes. The curtain was still. The air was normal. Everything was normal, except for the echo of that voice in my mind, and the paralyzing bone-deep terror that had seized every muscle in my body. I didn't move. I didn't dare. I just lay there, staring at the light, my knuckles white from gripping my phone. The light stayed on. It was my only anchor in a world that had suddenly tilted on its axis. But the whispered words replayed over and over in my head. You only feel safe when you're watching. It wasn't a threat. It was a statement of fact. A rule of this new, horrifying reality. The nightlight isn't my beacon of safety anymore. It's my prison guard. Every night since, the game continues. As long as I watch it, it stays on. But sleep doesn't come. How can it? How can you sleep when you know that the moment you close your eyes, the moment you look away, the darkness doesn't just return, it comes closer. And you know that something is in it, waiting patiently, whispering the truth you can never escape. I see it sometimes, in my exhaustion, a flicker of movement at the edge of the light, a shadow that stretches just a little too long. I haven't slept in days. I don't know what will happen when I finally collapse from exhaustion, when I can't keep my eyes open any longer. All I know is, the light is on. For now, because I'm watching, I have to keep watching. What happens when I stop?